So, Palworld is an amazing survival RPG that just released in early access, and it has taken over the world, literally. If you're jumping into Palworld for the first time, then here are a bunch of tips of things that you need to know in the game to get you started and have the best run possible. If you want to skip to a specific part of the guide, then go ahead and check down in the chapter list below. But without further ado, let's get into it. So first things first, this is my base of operations. This is a fully automated base, and I'm gonna have a future guide to teach you guys exactly how to build this right here. But before you can even get to this level, let's start with the basics. As soon as you fall into this world for the first time, you're going to be up here at the Plateau of Beginnings. So, you're gonna pull up on the beach. A bunch of pals are gonna look at you, see you, and they're gonna run away. After that cutscene plays out, you're gonna be walking through this cave system right here, and you're gonna come out into Palworld. And welcome. This place is absolutely insane. This is an early access video game, so there might be some things that you've probably never seen before, but just think of it as the character of the game. Anyways, this right here is a fast travel beacon. It's one of the most important items that you're going to need to familiarize yourself with, so let's do that. You're going to want to touch this every time you see it. You're going to receive one tech point that you're going to be able to use later in your tech tree, but for now, let's talk about how to use this. In order to fast travel in Palworld, you're going to need to collect several bases as well as fast travel points in order to go between them. As soon as you've received another location and or created your own base, you're going to be able to fly between this location and that one freely. Once you create a base for the first time, your base of operations is going to pull up like this icon right here. You can have more than one base in this game, but in the beginning, you're only going to have one. So pick your base of operations wisely. There's going to be other icons across the map of different pals that you're going to see on your journey. For example, this right here is the king of the forest, the Memorist. The Memorist is a behemoth, super huge pal that if you fight him, he'll probably take your life. So it might not be a great idea to fight him in the early game. But he does not attack you without you attacking him first. So if you don't pick a fight with him, just leave him be. As you can see, this game has a dynamic night and day cycle, and the only way you're going to be able to change the night and day cycle is to sleep in a bed. Once you have created a house that has a roof over the top of it, you will be able to sleep in a bed. It gets extremely dark and it's very dangerous at the nighttime, so I'm going to make it daytime and then we'll go back up to the Plateaus of Beginning. You can open up your menu at any time and see all the different locations that you visited, as well as the behemoths and other pals that are on your map that you found. If you want to fast travel to a different point, then you can click down on the B button and click on any fast travel point that you want to go to. So, returning back up to the Plateau of Beginnings, this is a key location that you want to visit first in order to do a couple of very important things. There's going to be an NPC right here that's going to give you about 10 sticks that you can use in order to make weapons, pickaxes, and stone axes. You don't have to use it for those specific items, but it might be a good idea for you to at least have a weapon while running around in this world. As soon as you finish talking to that NPC, make your way down these stairs, jump off this cliff, come over here to the right, and you're going to see a special item right here, and you're going to see a chest right here. I've already received this chest, but for you, there should be 2 pal spheres, some coins, and another random item in that chest. From there, you'll turn around. There's probably some type of stone over here, and you're going to want to climb up to this portion over here. Once you climb to the top, this is one of the greatest locations in the game to create your first base. Of course, like I said earlier, I'm going to have a full-blown guide on how to make a fully automated farm on your base, but let's just go through the basics. When you get here, you're not going to have any of this. It's going to be completely barren, and there's going to be a lot of trees and a lot of berries. Collect all the berries so you have some early game food. Take down all the trees, and make yourself a workbench. Once you open up the menu, go over to your Productions tab, and there you have a primitive workbench. Create this, and from there, you're going to be able to make all the essential tools that you're going to be using in the early game. Let's talk about the inventory, the party tab, and the technology tree. So, first things first, in your inventory, anything and everything that you picked up in the world is going to be listed here. You can organize it at will. You can separate the items in halves, or you can select exactly how much you want to take at any given time. Over to the right, we have your weapons, your accessories, and your food slots. This is unlocked a lot later on in the game, so we're going to have to live without this for a while. Anyways, these slots over here are going to be things that you're going to need to create in the early game. You're not going to have any of this at first, so you're going to be completely defenseless. So it's really important that you try to get your level up as fast as possible so you can at least get clothing and a shield. The normal parachute isn't that important, but it does help traversal a little bit, so I do recommend you get this as early as you can. And over to the right, these are your stats. Every time you gather something in the early game, you're going to instantly level up, probably to at least level 3 very quickly. At that point, if you want to level up any faster and further, you're going to want to start collecting pals. Pals are the fastest and easiest way to level up in this game. But we'll talk about more of that in just a second. Once you get your first couple of levels, go ahead and throw some points into weight, work speed, or stamina. Those are going to be the 3 things that you're not really going to have a lot of, and it's really going to be helpful to have a lot more weight and a lot more stamina so you can take down more trees or more items, as well as carry more loot. With all of that out of the way, let's move on to the next section of the guide, collecting pals. So you're going to want to come over to a primitive workbench, and you have this right here, which is a pal sphere. You're not going to have this unlocked just yet, but once you get a couple of first levels, you're going to go down to this tree right here, and you're going to want to unlock all of what you see. In the structures tab, you're going to need the pal box, the pal sphere, the campfire for cooking, and a wooden chest. You do not need the repair bench, and you're definitely going to need the wooden structure set, so grab that. Also, if you've already reached level 3 by just gathering items, then grab yourself the shoddy bed and the straw bed. This is for your pals, and this is for yourself. From there, you're also going to want to grab the cloth, and that's going to be all the essential items that you're going to need in the early game. I do recommend that if you're struggling in the combat in this game, or you don't have a pal to protect you, that you consider thinking about getting an old bow and making some arrows in the early game so you can fight off all of these pals and enemies at a distance. After you've created some pal spheres, let's go out on our first adventure and go collect you some pals. When making pal spheres by yourself, it does take a little bit of time, so going into your stats and raising your working stat will help you create things a lot faster. Don't forget to pick up the items after you've created them, because that's definitely something that I do often. Once you've created all the pal spheres that you want, grab yourself some food, cook it over here at the campfire, and it's as easy as just selecting what you want and cooking it. When you start to gather all the different pals in the world, some of them can help you cook, create items, and build a lot faster, which is going to be essential for building an automated farm, so we'll get into that a little bit later. If you like what we do here on the channel so far, then I really would appreciate it if you smash that like button and sub to the channel so that you don't miss out on any more tips, tricks, guides, and more like this for Palworld. But we're not done yet. It's time for us to go catch us some pals. Alright, So first things first, I'm going to take you guys out on a little adventure. This right here is Mel. Mel is going to help us find our first couple of pals. So after you set up your little base of operations up here with a workbench, as well as putting down a pal deck, it's going to be very important for you to think about building a small hut or house with a roof on top and getting a bed. Now you're going to need some wool for that bed. So let's go down the mountain here and get yourself some wool. There is a whole bunch of different pals that are roaming in this area that we're going to want to catch. When catching a pal, it's as easy as just throwing a ball at them, but it's a lot easier to catch them if you weaken them first. So, alright, so when you're trying to capture yourself a brand new pal and you're trying to hit them from the back, right there you're going to see the back bonus and whether you've captured it or not. This is a Captiva. A Captiva is a really awesome pal that you might want in your game, especially for your base, because they're super helpful. However, before you want to catch this, you probably want to knock it upside its head a couple of times. Don't let the Captiva see you before attacking it, because they will run away. And it's as easy as that. Now if you look over there to the right, you could see I captured a whole bunch of the same species. Every time you capture the same species, the experience points raise. So it's always a great idea for you to just sit there and farm the same species at least until you get 10 of them. You can do hand-on-hand combat or pal-on-pal combat to collect these different pals. Sometimes the capture will fail, so just keep trying until you get it. As you can see, I have 9 Lambos and I only need 1 more to get the maximum amount of XP for Lambo gains. And look at that, up there we have a chest, so let's go check it out. Periodically throughout the world you may see these things right here. These are chests that you can open up and get some free items. I got myself a copper key, some arrows, and some coins. Those chests do respawn, so it might not be a bad idea to check on that in about 3 or 4 days. I'm going to go ahead and sneak up on this Lambo and try to catch it. So the back bonus right now, because I'm sneaking up on it, is 33%. That's not enough for me to want to catch it, so I'm going to cancel the throw, and I'm going to throw my pal at them. Now, every single pal that you have in your arsenal has commands. You can pet your pal, emote, command them to be aggressive, to focus on the enemy, to not attack, or you can feed them. If they're really hungry and they've been out there in those streets selling cakes, well, it's about time you fed your pal. So just tell them to come on over to you, select an item that you want them to eat. They'll run over to you, you feed them, show them a little bit of love, and then you move on with your life. It's awesome. But make sure you're collecting all of these little Paldium fragments and items all over the world so that you're going to be able to make yourself some more Pal spheres a little bit later. This right here is a Cheeky Pea. So we're going to collect this Lambo and this Cheeky Pea so that we can go back to our base. Never mind. We're just going to kill the Cheeky Pea. See? Okay. I think that's the last Lambo that we need. So now we're going to get the max. Ooh, it popped out. Try it again. There it is. We got it. The lower the percentage is, the harder it is going to be to catch that pal. So make sure you get them as low as you can before you're wasting all of your pal spheres. I'm really curious. The last Lambo that I caught, it looked like my counter reset. So what happens when I catch them now? Alright, so it's just basic experience after that point. So once you've collected 10 of the exact same pal, there's no real point in catching them any further unless you're getting specific variants of that type. There are special pals walking around that have an aura around them, and if you capture those pals, those have specific bonuses and or abilities to them that you might want to seek out. But now that we've caught a couple of pals, let's head back to our base of operations. So as you can see, we caught a couple of pals and we instantly got our level up to level 12. We have a chance now to enhance our stats. I can either go HP, stamina, work speed, or weight. Weight is something that I've always been wanting to put my points into. HP is something that I put my points into early to stop myself from being one-shot by a lot of the different pals in the game. And stamina is king, because you're going to be smacking a lot of stuff all the time. So it's a good idea to get that up in the early game at least. But work speed, I guess, is going to be what we're going to start putting our points into. And as you can hear, I'm hungry. So let's go into our inventory and let's go ahead and get ourselves some food. Make sure you're keeping yourself topped up as well as your pals. I'm curious, I am not currently in a base of operations, so if I had 10 pieces of firewood, I would be able to randomly make a campfire out here in the woods. So you could just build facilities along the way and have yourself a whole bunch of different types of places to sleep while you're out on your journey. That's actually pretty awesome. Heading back to our base of operations, we're going to talk about the PAL box and then we'll wrap up the video. This right here is the PAL box. The PAL box is the house and home to all of the pals that you catch in the game. You have several boxes for all of your different pals to be stored in, so make sure you organize it so that you know which ones you have and where they are. When you store pals into the PAL box, their stats do reset after a long amount of time. So if you've had a bunch of pals that have been constantly working for a long period of time, just storing them in here for a while will eventually reset their stats. But sometimes I find that not always to be the case. Like some pals just remain with low sanity and or extremely hungry, so taking them out and feeding them personally might not be a bad idea to keep them topped up if you want to use them later. Now let's talk about the pal slots. This right here is a pal slot where you can send one of your pals to work at your base. For example, I'll use Gumos. In the beginning, you're only going to have one pal slot. As soon as you send this pal out into your base, he's going to start planting his seeds, just like that. Thank you, Gumos. Once Gumos finishes his job, you can actually water the plants and continue harvesting what he's doing, but that's completely up to you. When you build these facilities, you could do all of this work by yourself and or you can have your pals do it for you. Having your pals do it for you is a key to getting an automated farm going, so it might be a good idea for you to invest in them so that they can invest in you later. Make sure that you create a feed box so that all of your pals who are working on your base can periodically come over here and grab themselves some food. It is a good idea to have more than just berries in this feed box because I have found that some of your pals tend to want to eat more nutritional food. You want to cook your food over here at a fireplace. Of course, if you have a pal with kindling, they can help you cook. So if you look at any item around the world, sometimes it will tell you a requirement for that item. For example, this says kindling. So if I take out my box parts and I go into the menu to cook up some lambu kebabs, as soon as I get started, my pal's going to run over and help me cook. This is going to make the process of cooking a whole lot faster. And the higher your work skill is, the faster it will be for you to cook or make items and build in the game. And it's just that simple. Once you finish cooking, make sure you acquire your items. And if you want to feed your other pals with that item, make sure you put it away in the box. Once it becomes nighttime, it might be an amazing idea for you to go and sleep in a bed. If it's daytime and you lay in the bed, you'll just have the sleeping animation, but time will not progress. I thought it did, but it doesn't seem to be the case. Because looking at time now, pushing sleep, because it's so close to nighttime, it will automatically skip to the next day. But as you can see, this is a brand new fresh day that just started. And if I run over to the bed and try to sleep, I just get this animation of me sleeping. But that doesn't seem to advance time in the slightest. So that's kind of unfortunate. Just before I go, let's talk about the PAL box. So you have the opportunity to employ all of your different PALs into each slot. In the beginning, you only have one slot. As you do the missions for your base, you will unlock more slots to have more PALs working at your base of operations. From there, you'll have more opportunities for them to work on all the different things in the world. And let's go over to the party tab so you can see your PAL stats. So for every PAL in the game, they have a work suitability. If you look over to the right, this Chillet can do gathering and cooling. The Pin Gullet can do handiwork, transporting, cooling, and watering. Fox Parts does kindling, so they help with cooking. And as you're walking around your base, you can see all the different items that need some type of PAL in order for you to get assistance. For example, if I start building something here and I have a PAL employed that also has the handiwork skill, they're going to run over and they're going to help me. So let's put that into action. I'll go ahead and grab this little guy right here, Lambo. He's a brand new one. And I'm going to go over to the workbench. I'm going to make me a sphere. And as soon as I start building, he's going to run over and he's going to try to help me. Or not. Nope, there she is. See? And it's just that simple. You can either have them make it for you and save yourself some time, or you can make it with them and do it even faster. Now, with this PAL, they're going to automatically do and seek out all the different things and items that they need to for their job. So that's why it's so important for you to collect a whole bunch of different types of PALs in the early game. Make sure that each PAL that you have employed also has a bed. If they don't have a bed, then they're going to become stressed. And once they become stressed, they're going to stop working entirely. Sometimes your PALs can work too much and their sanity will go down. At that point, you're going to need to get to higher levels in the game so that you can unlock this right here. This is the hot tub. And if you don't have this, you're not going to be able to raise the sanity of your PALs. So just be mindful of that and be careful. You're able to unlock the hot spring at level 9. If you like what we do here on the channel, make sure you smash that like button and sub to the channel so that you don't miss out on any more tips, tricks, guides, and more like this for Palworld in the future. In my next video, I'm going to teach you how to build an automated farm, what are some of the best PALs that you want to actually get in the beginning of the game, and another video about the best tech skills that you're going to want to look into in the early game. This is your boy M of M Sensei's D. For now, I'm out of here.